Hi, fam. Hope you're all well, having a great day, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Just wanted to check in and make sure everyone's having a good weekend, whatever they're doing. Also, I know I said I was going to come on yesterday and then I didn't, and it's because I'm just getting more attacks, so I wasn't really in the highest vibration that I could have been in at that point in time, so I thought I'd better just give it a miss. But I will update you on what happened. So the attacks, they just keep coming. I mean, I knew, to be fair, when you're exposing people that are criminals, I did know that there was going to be repercussions, which is why I've had to take the steps that I've had to take over the last year and a half to protect myself. So, and everyone else around me as well, which I've mentioned before, that people just don't understand. And people getting funny that I haven't seen them or I'm not speaking to them, and it's really not about that. It's about trying to keep them safe and out of it. So I do love an email, so I'll read you what I because they're just on another level, these people, unfortunately. And also I'm recording it I'm recording it all for as evidence and to be able to show what happened at what time when it comes to it. So yesterday I sent because they're basically, because I have exposed their behaviour, the route that they're taking is to try and insinuate that I've got mental health issues and that I'm crazy, which is a narcissist 101. So, and it's just because they can't believe that I'd stand up to them. I wouldn't have before. But the facts remain the same. And really, I'm not giving up on this because it's the right thing to do. And, they are guilty of their crimes. And certainly, I've got all the evidence that I need to prove these things. And they just don't like it. So they're just trying to be as devious and underhand and nasty as they can be. And they just continued. They've just continued. And it doesn't get better, it gets worse. And even the thing that's going on with Brittany, for example, at the moment, that there is an example of exactly what they do. So the original conservatorship, she wasn't even consulted on. It lasted 10 minutes. It was based on a witness statement who since subsequently retracted it and regrets even doing it. And they only put it forward on the basis of what the dad said. The lawyer is corrupt. He's also been alleged to have done something similar to another girl, in terms of isolating her, even to, with the allegation was even to murder this girl. And when you've got a lot of money involved and a lot of narcissistic people in the form of managers and all of that entourage there that she must have, I mean, it's abuse. It's abuse what's happened to her for 13 years at the hands of her own father. And when you think about mental health just in general, you know, particularly for anyone that's famous, you know, I was watching a program, they were saying there was loads of other things that they could have done to support Britney that didn't involve a conservatorship, which ultimately gives the financial control to her dad and all of her control, her own body. He has control over what contraception she has to that level, and won't let her get married, won't let her have any children, won't take the consent, won't, you know, he's using her money to pay for his legal fees, right? He also pays all of those people that were all involved at all of those times, you know. So when is money or when is it a bribe? Do you know what I mean? And you know, the pressure that people must be under when they're famous like that, especially at a young age, must be intense, and having everybody watch you and comment on everything. And people are nasty online. People can be real nasty and trolls and have that constantly. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just means that that's intense on anybody. What he did to her is wrong. What he's done to her is abuse. He should, as far as I'm concerned, he should pay for that. Not only should he not be on the conservatorship and the conservatorship not exist anymore, but he should be taken to court for his crimes against his daughter. And you know, he's even, there's this thing about even using her children as a means of controlling her, and that whole situation there. So it's absolutely disgusting. Anyway, it just rang loads of bells, because it's like, I know those tactics there. I know those tactics. And the other thing about this, and why I'm not going to stop, is because I'm not demonizing people that haven't done anything wrong. I'm not being nasty for nasty's sake. All I'm doing is telling the truth and exposing actual crimes, and they're particularly important at the moment because domestic abuse, domestic violence, sexual violence, whether it's a man against a woman or a woman against a man as well, is just rampant right now. It's the worst it has ever been, and the reason it is the worst it's ever been is so crystal clear to me now from this process that I'm going through, because they've just gotten away with it for so long, and because they've used these tactics and manipulation and control and bribery, and you know, and it's worse. The more money you've got and you're a narcissist or a covert narcissist, the more money that you've got and you're an abuser, you can get away with it even more than you can when you've got less money. And that's the truth right there. But and it's important because the thing as well is everyone's got narcissistic traits, let's be honest. And can a narcissist change? Yes. So this is a topic that needs to be discussed. And the reason it has gotten so bad is because people have been silenced and people don't want to talk out about it. And if they do, they're shamed for doing it or called crazy. And it's like, no. This is the exact reason why it's gone on so long. Just that sort of undercurrent, because nobody's being made accountable, because people are just being believed, and the other party is, feels broken, or they can't say anything, or the other party will use something against them. And so you kind of just get this cycle that just continues to go on and on and on and on and on, and we've got to break it. And everyone needs to know what narcissism is, and everyone needs to know what narcissistic traits are, just so you can see it. You'll know whether or not you are like that, and then can you change? Yes, you can. And obviously there's levels of this and how bad it is, but criminals are narcissists, and particularly ones that abuse people physically, emotion, all of that kind of, they're narcissists because they don't have no empathy. Anyway, so I'm just bringing up this email, it's two actually. So this is the first one, and then I remembered some extra stuff today because I've had enough. I've had enough. I don't care who these that are. I don't care who they think they are, or how dangerous they think they are, and what dangerous crimes they've already committed, and what they've been to prison for. I don't care. They are still guilty of everything that I'm saying that they are guilty of, and I have every right to stand up for myself. And everything that they are doing is solely to shut me up, and they're using my children to do that, to try and do that. So I wrote this. So I included the party in question, and I also included the Child Services Corps and the police. I would like to raise serious concerns for my son's health and safety and well-being. I'm seeking an emergency court hearing this month to have them returned to me. Wayne Walker is the father. I dropped my sons to him in October for an extended visit, after which he has blocked me from seeing and speaking to the children, and has moved house from his mum's, where he was located at the time. The attacks and threats I've received from the Walker family have gotten worse since they discovered I've exposed their criminal activities and organisation via my social media platforms and to the police. They are highly dangerous individuals, including murderers, thieves, drug dealers, cocaine, weed distribution, bank fraud, and guns, to name a few. He is a convicted criminal of GBH against a woman. During our relationship, he was physically, emotionally, verbally, financially abusive. He cheated and lied from the get-go. He has committed various other crimes during our relationship, including drug dealing, bank fraud, theft, driving without a license, including working as a driver illegally for a business up near me. He has threatened to kill me on a regular basis. He has also threatened to kill my mother. Wayne said categorically that he would rather go to prison for killing me than to let me have the boys. And he would say that regularly when we were together before we broke up. He has used and manipulated me into letting him grow weed in my old house, which I had to pay for. So I was paying, this is a house I owned. I was renting it out, and then he wanted to grow weed in it, so I let him. He absolutely destroyed the house. He took walls down. He made holes in the ceilings. I was paying all the rent, but I was paying the mortgage and the house where we lived. He didn't pay for either. I paid for everything. And he obviously did that for a year. Whatever money he made from it, he didn't give a penny to me. He didn't pay any of the bills. I paid all the bills on both houses. His family and friends are also convicted criminals. These are all things that can be easily checked via their police records. His ex, Jenny Ainsworth from Fulham, was silenced before their court case. So she didn't testify against him. His friends and family sent her to another country, so she didn't testify. So he didn't get his full sentence. He should have got, I think it was 7 or 8 years, and he got 2 years, of which he spent 9 months in prison. She then spent 5 years. This is Jenny Ainsworth. She spent 5 years on a daily basis harassing me and my friends via various media platforms against Wayne and his family. But guess what? He told me she was crazy. He boasts that he is a mapper, and a mapper is a term that is used in prisons for the most violent prisoners. Mapper stands, so it means that he's constantly got that on his record, and he can't travel to certain countries ever in his life. He will not return my children. He continues to threaten and attack me and my mother via various routes, including via family and friends, and makes ridiculous, slanderous allegations against me. These people will be happy to testify to such. I've reported him and these crimes to the police, including names, addresses, and crimes of all of his family and friends, which I've obviously I've got all of the addresses because I went through my Google Maps history. So I've got all of their addresses for all of their trap houses. I pre-recorded 200 hours of evidence in the form of a daily video to record accurately all of the events, crimes, past and present, to me and anyone else that I'm aware of, which has already been provided, and pre-recorded evidence can now be used in criminal and civil cases of this kind because the law's changed. Wayne also created fraudulent court documents at the start of the year. He hand typed some shit and sent it to me as a means of a threat. They weren't court stamped or dated, so I immediately checked with the court, and they confirmed that they were fraudulent. His own mother, Eileen Walker, has also lied, which I have in evidence in writing. Their organisation is of murderous, narcissistic bullies are on the attack because I've exposed them all, and they're all doing everything they can to destroy me. But I have been cataloguing evidence against them for the last 16 months. My sons are clearly not safe in the hands of this abusive narcissist and his family and friends. This case is urgent. I've copied Wayne in. I've copied in the police. I've kept copies of all of the correspondence pre him blocking me. I've copies of all of the gifts and cards that I've sent my children. Whether or not he's been giving them to them or not, I don't know. Finally, Wayne Walker is my abuser. I do not and should not have to have anything to do with this man who has systematically destroyed me, lied and cheated to me for over 8 years, and continues to threaten me and my mum. As my children's lives are at risk as far as I'm concerned, and I wish them removed and returned immediately. Both Wayne and his mother refuse to provide me with the address where the children are being held. Therefore, his mother's address, and then I've given that. Then today, I added this. Further to my email yesterday. Oh, and I added some more people onto this one. I added the social services in London, and I can't see it. It's not coming up. Further to my email yesterday to report the serious safeguarding concerns of my sons, King and Zeus, and my request to have them immediately removed. As stated below, Wayne and Eileen obviously refusing to provide the address of where the children are, so I've included the local social services. I've copied in Merton Mash, as that's the last known address. I'd also like to provide some further evidence and information pertinent to this case. 1. Since 2013, when I started going out with Wayne Walker to this very day, I have repeatedly reported his psychopathy, narcissistic, violent, abusive, and threatening behaviour to the following services. 1. GP. 2. Teachers at Witham St Hugh's, which was my eldest son's school. 3. Staff at Angels Childcare, which was the boys' nursery. 4. Police. 5. Magistrates Courts of West London. 6. CAFCAS, which are the child services, part of the court. 7. Solicitors. 8. Neighbours, because the neighbours used to come round to check that I was all right, because the screaming, the abusive and aggressive screaming that how he used to speak to me would wake them up in the house across the street, and they'd come over and check if I was all right. My mother, obviously, she lives here. Nottinghamshire County Council, the social services of Nottinghamshire, and the MASH team. They've all been. I've also informed domestic abuse charities and SPCC. I've also advised the press via women's magazines and local stations, because obviously domestic abuse is a serious topic at the moment. I've also informed other women via online groups for empowering women, and obviously on all of my own social media. Then obviously Wayne Walker is a convicted criminal of GBH against a woman, proving that he is a proficient liar, proficient cheater, proficient manipulator, and a proven violent, aggressive mapper, all of which are evidence of his narcissism and can be checked on his criminal record. In 2019, after I broke up with him because of his abuse, and in an attempt to save my 3 sons from growing up to think that beating and verbally abusing women was acceptable, he went to work in Marbella, which is Spain. I believe the Spanish police there also may be looking for him, as he was involved in a violent attack at a nightclub, was being chased, and then contacted me in the UK to help him get home. So I paid for an immediate flight home, which he's obviously not repaid, and I've got evidence of that. In summer 2020, he was living at an address in Crawley Downs with another person. He was growing weed at that property. The two of them had a violent altercation where Wayne basically hit Adrian and the other guy, and he reported it to the police, so that'll be on his record. And then that's obviously when they moved out of the house and Wayne went back to his mum's. Clearly these two, oh shoot, hold on. Sorry. Clearly these two instances evidence his violent and aggressive nature further to the abuse that I endured for the entirety of our relationship. As previously stated, I have written evidence of the court documents that were fraud. He, wrote himself. I've got a conversation stream from his mum where she lies and then tries to retract it. I've got obviously all of the addresses and crimes and names of people that's already been provided. I've also got the evidence of his entire family have been trying to attack me or harass me via various different sources. So they've been making bogus harassment calls to both me and my mum over this time. They've also harassed my family and friends to try and turn them against me, to get them to try and harass me because they can't do it directly. What else is that? I've written, because they were doing that, I then wrote a complaint to the council and the various services, highlighting and including all of the charities and what's saying that this is harassment again. So this has been going on so long. He was also disqualified from driving from 2013 to at least 2020, which they can confirm with the DVLA. During this time, he regularly took my mum's car without permission, driving illegally. He also got lots of speeding tickets whilst in our car, which he then forced me and my mum to pay the fines and put the points on our license because he doesn't have a license. Bear in mind, my mum's disabled, so she don't even drive, but she took points for him. Again, those to be able to be checked. Those speeding tickets be able to be checked because they have photos on, and they'll be able to see quite clearly whether it's a Jamaican guy or me driving. He also got a job as a driver without a license because he lied. This is with a friend's company, so this is even worse. So, and that was as a driver for events. So he's driving up and down the country. I also paid for his theory tests and driving tests to try and get him to get a license so many times. And I paid for it and he never paid me back. B, he never even went to half of those because he was hungover. And the ones that he did go to, he failed. I've also had many emails of correspondence. I have many emails of the correspondence reporting him, his abuse, his crimes, and all of these things to all of the institutions that I listed at the start for over a year. For a year. They also committed bank fraud using their PayPal accounts and stealing from NatWest and Santander customers. They did this many times. It wasn't just them. There was also other people, associates, and they took advantage of my mum and made her open up an account. And then they took the money. I was like, if a search was carried out at all of the locations provided, not only would you find that you would find drugs in all of those locations, potentially weed being grown as well in family homes with children. And if you drug tested all of those names, you would also find that they are going to be on the drugs that they sell and probably intoxicated on alcohol. Furthermore, drug dealers use sex sites, sex parties, and gangbangs to sell their drugs and whore themselves out. I have unfortunately seen this behaviour with my own eyes, and Wayne tried to force me to take part in sexual activities that I did not want to be part of or associated with, and thankfully managed to avoid, which is probably why he's cheated on me from the very beginning. The vast majority of the people and this is going to be a generalised statement, but the vast majority of the people that I'm aware of that are on these sites, this statement applies. On OnlyFans, swingers.co.uk, ChatUbate, FetLife, swingers mansions parties and fetish parties, a lot of the people that are on those are on Class A drugs. And to men like Wayne and his drug dealing family and friends, women are nothing more than a vagina with a pulse that they can control, manipulate, abuse, lie to, and cheat on. These sites are full of drug-hungry people. I mean, this is gonna trigger people, but it's true, and that's coming from my perspective of being with somebody who was a drug dealer that was using these sites to sell drugs. So, perfect for a narcissist who can use this as a source of clientele, who will do whatever they want sexually for drugs. So it's more abuse of women. I can also provide, because they've obviously all got profiles on there, so I can identify all of these drug dealers via their profiles, because obviously they're not just rude pictures; they're just full-on normal pictures of them. Wayne also has my laptop, which he stole from me. He's been trying to hack into my emails using this device. I have two-step verification set up, which means I get a notification to my phone when any emails accounts are trying to be logged into. This notification advises of the device trying to log in, its IP and location. These notifications have clearly obviously stated that it is the device that is trying to log into my emails is my laptop that he has, and the IP and location are in London. It is no wonder that women do not come forward against their abusers when the systems are so awfully managed and ill-prepared, ill-qualified or trained in the necessary psychological understanding of narcissism, the warning signs, traits and behaviours. And they are all criminals, rapists, abusers have, right? Rather than make these men accountable, the women are judged and silenced by their abusers and not helped. We see this time and time again, which has resulted in the epidemic of domestic abuse that we find ourselves in currently. They aren't made accountable at any point by any of these systems that are supposed to protect women. People are afraid to speak out, so nothing is done. We can't even trust the police if they've got murderers amongst their midst anyway, haven't they? So I refuse to be silenced. I have done nothing wrong. I am not a criminal. He is. I'm standing up to my abuser, to his abusive family, all on my own and during a pandemic. I haven't seen my fucking kids since October because of what they're doing. Imagine what that is like. A 9-year-old, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old that have spent their entire life solely with me. And this is what they're doing to me. Because I've exposed them during a pandemic. Anyway, I have all the evidence to support everything I'm saying, and I'm prepared to see this through to the end. All of these threats and attacks and using my children to stop me from continuing with this process and an attempt to silence me. I will not be silenced. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That is where I'm at, people. Oi. And then I saw this thing about this guy. Where is it? It's just recent. It's just this week. And it's a guy in somewhere, I want to say Denmark or somewhere. And he's a journalist, and he's just exposed a load of drug dealers. And they tried to shoot him in the head. And I was like, oh no, nightmare. Like, what? I hope he's all right. He's still alive. So prayers. But that's the level. That is, no, there's no if buts, rounds about it. That's the level I'm at. Or they're at, more importantly. And it's like nobody said, you know what I mean? Nobody, I've made all of these people aware, yet here we are. Nothing's been done. At a snail pace. It's working at a snail's pace. And obviously, because of lockdowns, all the courts are all backed up. Everything's all backed up. So everything is just going so slowly. And I past the point of being afraid anymore. Because what's the point? What is the point? He'd have won just from that alone. I'm not going to live my life like that. I'm not going to live my life afraid. And, you know, I just want, if anything that I have shared during this time has helped even one person, it would have been worth it. It would be worth it. I'd do it again because I'm doing the right thing. You know? Because also I just want to give other women and other people that are being abused courage to stand up against their abusers. and to know that it does get better, and that, all these things that have happened, all of the, that have happened in our lives, that is not the end. It is the beginning. We can't just wallow in all that was, because you never go anywhere, you never move anywhere. It's just got to be in the present moment and just let it go. I know that sounds hard, but I never thought I'd say that, even when I was in the bottom of my well, so many times. But it's just wasted energy. It's wasted energy when you can be happy. And, just stuck in that cycle of thought of going over and over and over, and what if I did this, or what if I said that, or what, it's like, there's no point to it. And the thing is, I'm not even, I just want them to leave me alone. Well, ultimately, I want them to leave me alone and give me my kids back. That was never the intention. They were just trying to be fucking sly and devious. So I'll do whatever it takes. They're my kids. I'm standing up for myself. So I'm not gonna be that fucking doormat that I was for so long. No more. And that was that was my own insecurities and my own problems that made me accept that behavior. I should never have accepted in the first fucking place. I should have listened to my gut instinct and not gone there. That's the truth of it. But I didn't. And then I made my bed and I laid in it. So there's no one. I'm not. It's not like I'm going, oh, it's all his fault. It's not like that, because it wasn't. Because I should never have gone there in the first place. I should have. Or I could have stopped it so many times. I was the one, I let it carry on that long. Because he would never leave. Because he was onto a good thing, and he would never he didn't want to leave. I had to. It was hard to get him to get out of the house. It wasn't like, right, we're over, and he just left peacefully. let's be real. It didn't go down like that. It did not go down like that. I had to phone people to try and come and get him out of my house. But it's a blessing in disguise. That's the thing. All of these things, all of our pains, all of our trials and tribulations and bad relationships, and all of these things that we think, oh, it's just said to test us. No, it's just to prove to you that you can do it, that you can, that you're stronger than you know, and you can get through anything. That's the real truth of it. So I would never have thought that I'd be in now like this. Never in a million years. If you'd have said to me December 2019, I would have been like, nah. I didn't think I was gonna. I generally, at various points in my life, I thought I'm not gonna make it out. I'm not gonna make it out of this situation. But here I am. I've no doubt that the shitstorm's coming. From both those emails and obviously now this, but It is what it is. My intentions are come from my heart, so I'm ready for whatever comes. And plus I'm protected. So what was I going to say? The other thing I was going to say, there's something really important. Got carried away. No, it's gone. Maybe it'll come back. There's not really been anything. I was going to say there's not really been anything on the news, but obviously there has. I tell you as well, I had someone's put a funny comment on one of my posts. So normally people are brave enough to comment on my posts because obviously I hashtag in everyone. And obviously then if they're commenting on it, everyone that's on the hashtag, all the hashtags will see their comments as well. So it's a good way of getting nobody comments on it, which is great. And but somebody just commented, I put something on about vaccines. Obviously it's a touchy subject. And more people in the UK, right, there's 10 times more people that have severe side effects, including death, 10 times than have passed away from COVID. And let's not forget that COVID number of 127,000 is inflated because it's actually the vast majority of that number are comorbidities. So they've got things like underlying issues, severe issues like lung cancers, heart diseases, obesity. So if it had been the flu, they also would have, that's the kind of theory there. So 10 times as many. And so I can't remember what the actual picture was. I can't remember what it said. But the guy came back and he was like, I don't think it's appropriate to be putting something like this on. It sends out the wrong message. I was like, and then he put something about under 30-year-olds being ill in hospital. I was like, where'd you get that number from? You know what I mean? Where'd you get it? Just tell me where you got it. I can tell you where all my numbers from. Where'd you get that number from? And ultimately it came from mainstream media. It's like, have you checked it to see if it's even real? And, the answer is no. So I was like, I can't even talk. I don't want to be an arsehole, but at the same time, I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Literally. You're just repeating somebody that's been written as a script for a program that is funded by people. I could go on and on and on down there, but ultimately you haven't checked it. And when you look at the numbers, there's more people in hospital currently that are in hospital because of side effects from the vaccine than there are with people that have any kind of COVID related, nothing to do with COVID, just side effects from the vaccine. Not only that, they're still going on about cases. Well, cases do not mean serious illness or death. They don't. There's no correlation. It's just a number. And obviously there's going to be lots of them because guess what? They're doing so much more testing. So just using this number that really means nothing on its own, and it certainly doesn't mean anything in the context of the severity of COVID, because it's just Well, for example, care homes, they get tested like 3 times a week, and all 3 of those are included in that number for that one person. And then they're also accumulative over time. So it's like, well, how many actual new cases are there? And how many of those new cases are hospitalizations? Because there's no, they don't do any different. They haven't, reported on that in any way. There's no like hardly any people dying of it. So trying to use this number to put the fear of God in you again. Now they're coming up with all these different new ones: lambda, delta, gamma. All these different. What are they even talking about? I swear to God, they're just plucking these things out of the air. Like, oh. The Delta variant wasn't scaring them enough. So let's just come up with a couple new ones. Quick. Oh, wait. Anyway, enough of that. I'm going to leave you all. Love you. Give you virtual hugs. High fives, big tens. And I will see you tomorrow if I'm still here. If I haven't been, don't know. We'll see. It'd be a brave man to come near my house. I've got cameras everywhere. Love you.